Hello and welcome back to Monogatari. Now, obviously, when we left off on Owarimonogatari, there was a bit of there was a small cliffhanger. One that I am very glad that in between the two series, I've only had to wait a week or so. Whereas everyone else, when it came out, much longer. But obviously, if they don't actually pick up where they left off, then that point is moot. I will say, though, if it does, I am very much pleased to be once again having a bit of a focus on Hachikuchi, even if it was at very much detriment of Arararararagi. But I know what you're waiting for, so let's get going. Yeah, well, he was quite affected by her departure. I very much appreciate the stylistic nature of this. There's far too many things, like he said, far too many factors that you have to comprehend and think about. Is he going for the whole Hachikuchi is the saving grace of him here? Sometimes you have to accept your failings and inadequacies to be able to move past them. Damn it, Ogi. How much of an influence is she going to have now that Araragi has been removed from the equation? One way to look at things, isn't it? Although if it is Araragi, being a fool is his main character trait. Not quite as energetic as the last theme song that was sung by Hachikuchi. Quite minimalistic in some of its design. It's very upbeat considering it's juxtaposed, fucking hell, to his, well, I'm guessing death that was imminently prior to this. How long has it been? Kamimashita. Of course. Where would we be without that little tidbit? Even in a vast, barren wilderness, I think Araragi will be fine as long as he's with his plaything might be bad, but somewhat correct. Current situation. Fucked. Does that mean Sanjigahara is going to be waiting there for quite a while, though? we've seen the original apparition hunter, can't remember what he was really called, come back from much worse. So I'm guessing it's the same kind of thing with Araragi, but how much time is going to pass? We didn't actually see, at least I don't remember seeing, too much of a somewhat grieving process for him. But seeing it now that he's constantly still trying to catch glimpses of her, even though he knows that she's gone. Yeah. I do want to see Zombieland Hachikuchi again, but that's not going to happen. Is this going to get into the whole getting over someone's demise properly? Or no, it's going to do this? Got to get a good run up for that inevitable physical contact. Are you wishing you didn't meet him now? Is it a bit too aggressive, even if it was several months or years or however long it's been? Yes, far too aggressive. Somehow I feel he's actually being somewhat reserved. Well, that was immediately destroyed, wasn't it? She's not resisting too much, though. We know that she was somewhat into it. Nice impressionist type art thing that. And it was 95% deserved. Huh. The sky is painted on. Who knew? I guess SpaceX and all that is a big lie. Going through the backstory and what's happened recently. There's a lucky might be the wrong wording, but it depends on what your standards are. You might have noticed a small break there. My apologies. But for her, I guess having to depart and then meeting again is somewhat lucky, but also being locked away in this. I'm guessing that was the #1 best-selling song of all time. Mainly because Araragi bought 14 million copies of it. But being locked in this perpetual wilderness, just the two of them, I guess is something. And also, did Gain do this not out of some sort of animosity or wanting to kill him, but it's to set things in motion for things to come? Much like everything else that the specialists do. Are you just going through the memories that they have and share and the places? For a moment there, I thought Hashiguchi was going to do a very dangerous movie reference. She was already there? And there isn't really much of a evidence that was left behind either. So you're going the bottomest level of hell. So what, you're going for the 7 layers of hell or more, depending on what theology you're going with. And why is she here then? If he's on the bottom level, and also for the bottom level, isn't too bad. Unless she's just a figment of his mind. Is this going to be a long, drawn out The Torture of Araragi? Koyomi. Good question. But why? If this is her, then she purposely came down for him for some reason. If it's not her, it's another way just to break his mind. Who made that rule? You're rather chipper considering the sentence you just said. Yeah, she's probably on the upper levels. Right. The reception area of hell. This isn't time for a... It's not quite like going over a friend's house for a sleepover. You're in hell. And also, I don't remember signing up to watch Keijo. Who? So obviously this person is also a denizen of hell, or transcends the barriers, which brings up several people in my mind who it could be. Unless it's someone we haven't met yet, but I don't know if it would do that kind of thing to us. Oh, that was simple. Setting up the hero's journey already. Start in hell. Your goal is to resurrect. Her calculate. Well, that that kind of settles it. It down to 2 in my mind. 1 specialist or 1 creepy. I'm starting to believe that maybe this is just a way of torturing his mind. I'd like to see the person's mind who created this. Not quite a hellscape, but the backgrounds and locations of Monogatari has always been odd and overemphasized, but this is cool. Kamburu? Or him? I glossed over that point. If it wasn't for Shinobu and Senjugahara falling down the stairs because of a banana peel, he probably would have grown closer to Hanakawa. She only knows what she knows. What was that running around? Is it we are just seeing various points of interest in Aragi's timeline? I don't think catching her or not catching her is something that you'd need to ponder over all much, because if you had the option, I don't think he can get her from that angle, though. But leaving someone to fall like that, how would that be seen in the eyes of karma and good and evil? How many of his decisions and actions is he regretful of? Aragi does seem the type to actually own most things he does and stride forward. Hindsight is 2020, though. We can all think of better ways we could have acted, but we wouldn't have the information that we had when you think about it again. So, Nadeko. And oh yeah, how long were things set in action for the snake? Hmm. In some respects, yeah, she was the one looking after him, per se. And one to suffer his preclusions. I have nothing. Balance, yeah, it's not something you want to bring up when you're in hell, because the scales of fate itself, which has emanated into a character. This place doesn't look particularly safe. You might want some handrails, but it's a cool backdrop. Yes, it depends. Doing the right thing sometimes means sacrificing others, but it doesn't mean that it is the correct action. This is very metaphysical and getting into philosophy in a way. My poor brain. I can feel it dribbling out of my ears. Well, to put things simply, for me, if what I'm comprehending at least 20% of this conversation, as long as your actions ultimately, at least in your mind, have brought together a better world, if you balance it all out with things that you've done, you're heading in the right direction. Also, what happened to Meme? Like, that was a big shock. Always at the cornerstone of any big event that happened, but not really doing anything on the surface. I can't remember who you were, but I remember where he was the one who kidnapped the sisters and put them in the box. But further than that, I can't remember who he was. Didn't, was it Ononoki that Unlimited Rulebook? I think that's a good descriptor, don't you? And I'm not sure if I was in the pits of hell, if I'd want the guide out of there to be known as a ghost that distracts people who are lost or makes them lost. At least previously is what she was for. I don't know if it's because I'm perpetually distrustful of everyone and what they say, but if I was in a situation like that, I think I'd trust someone. If I was to meet someone from my past, and it would be. Yeah, so if I was to meet someone from my past and there was someone that was really near and dear and close to me, I think I'd trust that being real less than if it was just some acquaintance that I had at some point. Also, if Hachiguchi managed to descend from the banks of hell down to this lowest level easily to go and collect Araragi, who guards hell? Where are the security? What's the point of the levels if people can just go about whenever they wish. I don't think I really want to raise that question all too much in case I need to use it in the future. Who am I kidding? You've seen what I've been watching recently. It's only a matter of time, I guess. And I knew this was going to be an undertaking, but the small episodes getting me back into the rhythm of things was useful because I at least somewhat paid attention to what they were saying. Even if it was just a lot of old references and catchphrases that were being bandied about for the first 10 minutes of it. Oh, remember, Hajakuchi says the wrong things when it pertains to Araragi, so therefore Kamimamishita. Or variations of that. I wonder if during that first interaction between Araragi and Hajakuchi when he was embracing her, if the thought ever crossed her mind as, I wish I never came to save him in the first place. But with that said, considering we are now meeting the deceased, there's a few others that might be on the list of who we're going to come across. I'll be looking forward to that, maybe you will too. But if you enjoyed the episode, please let me know by leaving a like on the video, and I don't know if it's safe to make any recommendations for comments, but I'll leave that up to you. Get some rest. Gonna need it for the next one. There wouldn't be many people I would want walking with me through the bellies of hell itself. But if you want to be my underworld guide, then consider helping me out on Patreon. Because so far, Sal, Raywin, HSTR, Dynamite1997, Aishrem, Shiwan, ASD and everyone else have been slowly raising me up, which I can only be grateful for. But I know that none of us are particularly saints, are we? So, I'm sure we'll meet.